Hello, lifeStoked Nation. I am super fired up to bring you an interview today with my friend Andy Traub. His book has just come out. It's called Early to Rise, and it will help you do just that. And if you haven't heard of how powerful it is to wake up in the mornings and get started with your day ahead of everyone else in your household, then you absolutely must listen to this interview. It's hugely important as husbands, as fathers, that you get that jump on the day. And I'm so excited to have Andy come on here and actually walk us through his experience with it, how he created the book, and exactly how he can help you learn how to do this important skill. All right, I'm with Andy Traub, the author of Early to Rise, Learn to Rise Early in 30 Days. And how you doing today, Andy?
I'm great. I'm actually just, if you can see me on the video, I'm checking in on my Lyft app, so people can see that. I got this great app called Lyft, and I'm just checking in on it's a habit building app. And so I've talked about it in the book, and I was actually just checking in on my habits. So I'm good. I think I'm all caught up. You can put them in order of what you do. So my first one is hashtag Early to Rise. One of my readers made it because you can make your own habits in the app. And so everybody reads the book and then go and see other people checking in for their Early to Rise. So it's not like get up at 5 a.m., which is what mine used to be. Now everybody can kind of check in on the same one. So I've got this community of people now that are checking in on the Early to Rise habit. And so there's a little bit of accountability where, like I wrote the book, so I better check in,
Yeah, that's an awesome tip, and I want to come back to that in just a second. But first of all, tell me about this. So waking up early, that's a habit you're trying to do. That's something really important to you. What is so special about waking up early?
Well, let me clarify that for the guy that wrote the book about waking up early, and there's a little nuance to this, so stick with me, but I hate getting up early. I mean, it's usually miserable for about 3 minutes, and then it's awesome. And so if I said, hey, if you could be miserable for 3 minutes a day and I could help you gain 2 hours a day and you could do all of these things that you've been wanting to do in your life, have a better marriage, be a better parent, have a stronger spiritual walk, be a better business person, would you do that? Would you trade me 3 minutes of misery for all those other things? And that's essentially what the book is I don't candy coat it and say, hey, it's so easy and here's a special pill you can take. It's hard. It is hard and it's still hard, but it's worth it. And I wrote the book because I wanted to build the habit, and I have built the habit, and I have figured out what helps me get up early, what sabotages me getting up early. And because I love to teach people, I put all those things in a system over 30 days where when someone buys the book, at the back of the book, they get to sign up. And then for the next 30 days, they actually get emailed each chapter of the book along with a link to me reading it. So it's more than just, like I was talking about with the Lyft app, it's more than just read a book and go change your life. That's really hard to do. You need a community of support. You need other people doing it, and you need a strategy. Like, what are you going to do in the morning, right? And what are you not going to do, because it'll make it even more miserable. So I compiled all those things into a book, and now we've got a nice community growing around it. We've got about 650 people signed up to get updates, and I know that number is going to grow. And the book hasn't even been published yet, so it will by the time this comes out. But yeah,
awesome. So one of the things that I kind of suspected is just being from an outsider is I hear people like Dave Ramsey talk about, get up early, be successful. Andy Andrews, get up early, be successful. All these guys that I look up to who are talking about waking up early and getting going in the morning. And then I've seen you've been doing this for a while, and I've seen all the impacts that it's made on you just from following you on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And my hunch is that you just totally debunked right there, is that Andy is a guy who gets up early anyway and is just raring to go, and he wants to convert everyone to his way of doing things because it's awesome. But
you got the part right, which is awesome. All the other easy part. I mean, here's the honest truth. And, I'm just a dude. Like, it's -8 where I live right now. Like, I live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which, that's a whole nother conversation of like, why do you live there if it's -8? But the answer to that short question is because I love my wife and kids, but if I could move, I would. But I'm just a dude. Like, this is, if you're seeing the video, this is my business. This is my office. Like, I could walk over there and touch the other wall. Like it's like a 10 by 10 room. I work for myself. I have a wife and 3 kids, and I pay my mortgage most months. No, I pay them all the months. But I'm just a guy, right? And I happen to be inspired by people, and I study them, and I figure out what do they do, and then I try to repeat that. And I have on my Lyft app. My wife mentioned this yesterday. She's like, "Have you been hiding a secret from me for 7 years?" Because on my Lyft app, I said to her the other day, I said, "Oh, I got to run upstairs and brush my teeth because I got to check in on my app." She goes, "What do you mean you got to brush your teeth? Don't you brush your teeth every day?" I go, "Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'd forget." So I put it on the app, and she goes, "Have you been hiding a secret from me for 7 years? You don't brush your teeth in the morning?" Like, I don't brush your teeth in the morning. But for her, it's habit. For me, it's not a habit. So I do brush them every day now. You can check my Lyft. That's the other thing. It's public, so you can keep me accountable. But yeah, I'm a guy that like forgets to brush his teeth. You know what I mean? I'm a normal dude that just happened to figure out all these people that I really look up to get up early. And the other part is necessity for me. I mean, there's a lot of people that their necessity is they're trying to build a dream, trying to reach their dream. So they are very intentionally trying to get up early to build that dream because they also have a day job. The other is out of necessity. I have 3 little kids. I have 3 kids under 5 years old. Okay, so that's 3 little. And I would get very frustrated because they would wake me up and I'm automatically kind of jolted. And like, I've got kids who need me right away. And usually it's dad, wipe me, like, okay, that's a great way to wake up, and so that was the only hours of the day that my house was truly quiet. So it was, from 5 to 7, so, one other thing is my wife not wanted me, but we agreed that I would come home every day at 4:00. I read an Andy Stanley book, which is, they renamed it When Work and Family Collide or something like that. But the earlier release is called Choosing to Cheat, and it's about work and family balance and how you have to choose one or the other. And so we decided I'm going to be home every day at 4, which is fine because I wasn't that productive from 4 to 5 anyway. She said you can get up as early as you want. So that's the other thing. A lot of people say, "Gosh, my family, my kids, I got all these responsibilities." Get out of bed earlier. There, I just gave you 2 hours. You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
There's something that I absolutely love that you wrote in the intro to your book. You said, "The goal of this book isn't to help you build a habit. The goal of this book is to help you change your life. I want you to stop being average." Tell me about how when you started getting up early, like, was this something that was just a habit for you at first, or how did you realize that this was bigger and this was actually impacting other things and was a lot bigger than just checking in on your Lyft app that you woke up at 5?
Well, whoever's listening, follow me, okay? Or if you're watching, just follow me on this, okay? So this is how I feel, okay? Or I used to feel when I would wake up. I used to wake up, sort of felt like this tsunami of like, I wake up and then it's like, hey, my day doesn't sort of roll in with a nice, like, like you ever see the tide come in? It doesn't go like, boom, the tide's in. It's like a wave comes in and a wave comes out. And suddenly the thing is getting closer to your sandcastle and you're like, oh, the tide's coming in, right? Well, most of us when we wake up, and this is me too, I'd wake up and it wasn't like the tide rolling in. It was like tsunami. It was like, my day just hits me. And it sucks. It's a crappy way to start your day. And we start almost every day that way. And it's not like things to do. It's not like all 3 of my kids jump on me. But it's a mental tsunami. It's like you wake up and you're like, I got laundry to do. This kid's butt needs to be wiped. Sorry, I have to do that a lot in my house. Or I've just got this project, or I didn't send that newsletter out, or I haven't worked on my book today, or Johnson needs his report, or whatever normal people do. I don't know, but it would come at me, and it was really discouraging. And so what I found was by rising early, I could. It's sort of like sneaking in, like you get ahead of your day. And I write about that in the book. I say, you greet your day instead of your day sort of punching you. Your day will not blindside you. You will actually sort of sneak in on every day, and you'll have control of it. And you'll tell your day what to do. And I write in the book, you'll be surprised how often it listens. Because most of us, frankly, are at the mercy of our day.
Uh-huh.
Moms, I know, moms most especially feel like they're at the mercy of the day. Whatever comes at them, they've got to deal with. What I'm saying is if you woke up an hour, 2 hours earlier, and before you think I'm crazy, read the book. But if you were able to build that habit, you would get ahead of your day. And I'm not talking about getting ahead of your day as in like do the laundry in the morning or get more work done in the morning. I'm talking about doing the things that make you a healthier person in the morning so that you will do all those other things better. Now, some people wake up early and they use the book to get up early and just do more work, and that's fine. I actually think you shouldn't. I mean, maybe half of that time, but I like to share the analogy like they do with in the airplane. If you're sitting next to your child or something like that, and the air masks come down, they say, put the mask on yourself first and then your kid, because you could pass out while you're trying to put it on your kid. And my point is, if you want to do better at your dream, right, you want to do better at your marriage, you want to do better, all those other things, guess what you need to be? Healthy. Guess what all martyrs have in common? They're all dead. Right? They're quite limited. So we got moms going around all over the world being martyrs. And on some level, selfish isn't the right word, but I just say it's not wise to be a martyr. Like, you're not useful if you're dead. So if you're a zombie every day, then you need to change your life. If you want to change your life, you got to change your actions. And so the last part of this is that I write about this in the book as well, is that your attitude will follow your actions. So some people say you got to think different and then you act different. And what I'm saying is I think and feel the same way every morning when I wake up, which is, this is not enjoyable. I'm awake right now. These covers are very warm. It is -8, which I wish was rare, but it's not. It's common here. I want to stay here. I like this woman laying next to me. She's my wife. I would like to snuggle with her. I mean, all those things, that you don't want to move. But if you make that one small decision, then it really will change your life. I mean, let's just do some math, all right? Because I know there's some really practical people out there. So let's just do some quick and dirty math. And actually, I'm going to make you do the math, all right? Because I have to do this. Let's just say you don't get up every day. You get up 5 out of 7 days a week early, okay? And you give yourself 2 hours extra, right? So that is 2 hours a day over 5 days is
10 hours.
There you go. It's going to get harder. So the next question is 52 weeks a year. So 52 times 10.
That's 520 hours, Andy.
You're going to have to, I'll get on my calculator for this, but 520 hours, a working week is usually 40 hours, right? Usually. That's 13 more working weeks you would get of time in. So I'm not talking about working, but I'm just saying, like, you're looking for time, and we usually measure things by our work week. That's 520 hours a year divided by 40 hours a week. That's an extra 13. So people are like, gosh, I wish I had another week of vacation time to do whatever. I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time. Guess what? Time is like land. They're not making any more, right? God gives you so much land and so much time, and you got to just work with what he gave you. And what my book helps people do is work with what they gave you, with what God gave you, but also find a way to get more. And yes, you're going to probably have to cut out some stuff. And when we haven't talked about that, we can talk about it a little bit. But where do you get that time? Well, I've got some pretty simple strategies in the book to find. Okay, Andy, you want me to sleep 2 hours less? That's not going to work, But I don't. I have other strategies for that.
Yeah, I got to ask the obvious question here that I think a lot of people are thinking. So we just did some really higher level math to come up with a few extra weeks a year just by waking up 2 hours earlier. Why couldn't I maybe work from like midnight to 2 in the morning? Or do you get the same effect if you just say, I hate waking up early, I'm going to magically add 2 hours to my day at the end of it?
Sure. I'm a night person. I think best at night. Well, the only reason people say they think best at night is they've never been up in the morning. A few things. One is that, and I'll say this again: waking up is hard. I hope I get to the point where I can just kind of pop out of bed, but I don't know if I'll ever get there. But just understand, it's hard. Okay, it's harder to wake up than it is to stay up. Okay, so this isn't about doing what's easier; it's about doing what's better. Okay, so if you say that sounds hard, I would say no, duh. Like, what in life is easy and really great? Like, is marriage really easy and so it's great? No, marriage is work. Is parenting really easy so it's great? No, it's work. Is work really easy so it's great? No, it's work. All things that are great require a measure of work. Okay, so for people to say, I'll just do it at night, a couple things. One, people don't post on Facebook at 5 a.m. So the irony is you can actually go, wake up, check your Facebook, check your Twitter, check your email, all those things if you wanted to. And guess what? I don't check any of those things. But the point is, no one is up to bother you at 5 a.m. They are at 10 p.m. At 10 p.m., you can go on and check this and this and this, and you've got the news to watch. And the other thing is, and this is a much larger scale, is guess when most of the world is awake? Well, the evening. Is most of the world average? Yes. Is most of the world over? Is most of the world negative things? And I'm saying most, a majority. Yeah, most of us don't have the lives we want to have. And if you're one of those people, and I am too, then what are you going to do about it? And yeah, if someone wants to get in a debate with me about like I'm a night person, I go fine. But I believe this with all my heart. I believe that there are quality hours. Like I said, I don't work past 4 o'clock. The other reason it wasn't that hard for me to do that, and I mentioned it, is I'm not that sharp between 4 and 5. I mean, how many times at 4 o'clock you're at work and you're like, I'm going to start this new project right now, and it's going to be awesome. That's work at 4 o'clock. Really 4:45, 15 minutes before I'm supposed to leave, that's really when I'm in my groove. No, absolutely not. And it's not like, I'm my sharpest at 11 p.m. 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. I just really, no. And anyone who says that, they don't have anything to compare it with. They haven't been up at that 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., whatever that time is for you. I think that there are quality hours. Different hours have different quality. And so I believe the best hours are in the morning. And I think that history backs me on that because there's a lot of great people out there that get up very early. And it's not because they're special, it's because they're smart. And I just think everyone's capable of being smart. I mean, it's a choice. That's the bottom line. And I think that those hours have better quality. The last thing I'll say is I think your ideas, all of our ideas, wake up early. Our best ideas can be heard and can be responded to and can be fleshed out in the morning. Because by 10 a.m., there's too much noise. There's too much other stuff going on at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. and 5 p.m. and 6 a.m. 6 p.m. I think if you wake up early, your ideas will meet you because you'll create space. You'll be able to hear their whisper because by 8 o'clock, forget it. It's too noisy. There's too much noise going on. I would just say if you don't think it's going to work or if you're skeptical, then know that you're not alone. It's work, but the payoff is that you can have the life you want to have instead of sort of the life that you've been living.
Awesome. I'm sold. You kind of reminded me there of, I don't know if you've read the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, but one of the things that he talks about a lot, and that is finding time to work on these big, amazing projects that are going to change the world. And the way that he recommends doing that, he talks about, your days are crazy. All this stuff's going to be coming at you all day. You can't control that. But he says the 2 parts of the day that you can control are the bookends of your day. So right when you wake up and right before you go to sleep. And so he also advocates, he doesn't necessarily say do it as far as getting up early, but kind of blocking off red velvet ropes, that section of your morning, and saying, this is when I'm going to do work. Nothing is going to intrude on that. And so I'd been doing that, I guess, for a couple of years ago. I tried that, and it really helped out a lot, but I was kind of doing it later in the morning. One thing that you said earlier that I really, really liked was talking about how when you do it that early in the morning, you're getting ahead of your day. Versus like, because I totally know the feeling. I'm running lifeStoked completely on the side. I've got 40 hour a week job, 6-month-old kid. And so when I wake up at 7, 8 in the morning, you're right. It's just like this tidal wave of stuff just hits you. And you're like, I'm already behind. I haven't even eaten breakfast yet.
Fault is that? I mean, you could try to blame whatever you want to blame, but it's like, Darren says, guess who chose to wake up at 7:30? You did. Guess who chose to watch the news? You did. I mean, there is, and I write about this in the book too, that there's a difference between entitlement thinking and empowered thinking. And empowered says, I can get up at 4:30. And someone just went, guy, you're full of crap. Like, dude, there's no way 4:30. But you know what? Here's where I'm going to prove that person wrong. Because if you had a flight tomorrow at 6 a.m., if you had a flight at 6:30, depending on where you live from the airport, and it was going to cost you $600 if you missed that flight, guess what time you'd get up? 4:30. You get up when you had to get up because there's something to look forward to. There's a purpose in your day. And most of the time when we fly, we like flying. We're going somewhere fun. And so I don't think it's a big jump to say, why aren't you getting up early? Because you don't have anything to look forward to. I mean, that's the most profound answer I got from someone, my friend John, and he said, because I asked the question of all these people that got pre-release copies, why didn't you get up early? And his was the most powerful, which was this. I didn't rise early, and he does now. He said, because I didn't like my life. And I don't know that he was like struggling with depression. That's doesn't have to be that severe. But the point is, most of us don't get up early very simply because we're not looking forward to anything enough to get up early. And my point is, if you're going to get on a plane and go to Florida, especially if you live in South Dakota, then you're going to get up on time. And so I think one of the reasons people don't get up early is because they generally don't have anything that they're that excited to look forward to. And it's easier to say, oh, I'm a night person. It's easier to say, I just can't do that. But then whose responsibility is it that you don't have the life you want? I mean, I'm just an average guy, right? I'm just a dude, right? We're all, for the most part, average. And the only way to stop being average, and average is not like I just want to make more money, though I do. It's I want to not have an average marriage. I want to have a great marriage. I don't want to have average kids. I want to have kids that are filled with joy and excitement and freedom, and I want them to all be in professional sports. I'm just kidding. I would not let them do that. But I want my kids to love their life and to love their dad, and I want them to have a different kind of life than most kids have. And you can't do that if you do what everyone else is doing. And Deacon, everybody else is getting up at 7:30. And so I'm just saying, if you want a different life, then do something different. And I think this is really different.
Absolutely. And I think that's some of the strongest evidence that really resonates with me. Because I definitely do not want to be average. And so you make a great point when you look around and see what is everybody else doing. And
that's I host another show, In the Loop with Andy Andrews, and he's an extraordinary person. His parents both died by the age, I think he was 21 in the same year. He found himself living under a pier. He didn't get that much life insurance money, so it ran out, and he literally living underneath a pier, very close to the city he lives in now, in Alabama. He doesn't live under a pier anymore. He sold over 10 million copies of his books. And I've spent time with him. I consider him a friend. And he would say, my goal is not to be the smartest person in the room. That's just not going to happen. But I want to be the wisest person. I want to have the most wisdom. And I don't think wisdom is gained from, writing your own stuff. I think there's enough wisdom in the world. You can kind of take it in, right? You don't have to go create it. You can just sort of consume it, which is great. But when are you going to consume that wisdom? How are you going to change your life? And you can pray for a promotion, or you can get up a couple hours earlier so you're ready to be sharper at work, or to do an extra hour of work before you go in so you can impress the heck out of your boss and then get a promotion. My point is, there are people who are in control of their lives, and then there's most people who aren't. And this book is for people that want to take control of their life. And it's written by an average guy in a below average temperature city, and it's practical and simple. And I do everything I possibly can to help people build the habit. I surround them with encouragement. I give them tools, whether it's a smartphone app or an email every day, or access to me. They can email me. There's over 20 stories on earlytorisebook.com of people that have been through the book, and it's me talking to them about, okay, what did you do? How's this changed your life? I start off every interview with, what time did you wake up today? And some people say 7:30, 2.5 hours after I was supposed to. And some people say 4:45. It's great, but it's not about perfection. This is not about getting up early. It's about changing your life. I just think getting up early is the best way to change your life.
So I've been going through your book, absolutely love it. And one of the things, I've read a lot of material over the years that's encouraging you to get up early, and I'm sold on the process. One of the things that I absolutely love about your book is that it's a pragmatic approach that says not just that you should get up early, but here's how to do it, and I'm going to help you every single step of the way for 30 days through that. And I think that's a really cool format. So I think you mentioned this earlier, but the format of the book is there's something for you to read every single morning when you wake up.
Let me kind of explain it, because I think in the very beginning I said you can read this book in an hour or in 31 days. So day one, you read sort of the introduction chapters. I don't know if it's 15 or 20 pages. But then the next morning you start reading day one, and it's about 500 words, which is probably the equivalent of like 2 pages. So every day is about 500 to 700 words, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little less. But you've got that day's passage, I call it passage, and then an action tip, a rise early action tip. And so every day you wake up, you can open the, if you have it in physical format, turn on your Kindle, turn on your iDevice, whatever it might be, turn on your computer, you can get it in PDF too. But you turn it on and you can read the passage, look at the action tip, and then you can also listen to me read it. I think in the morning, one of the things I really like about this is that maybe you don't want to read, you just want to listen. And so, you can just go to that passage and hit play, hit the link, whether it's on an iPad or whatever, or a PDF, but you can hit it and then it'll just play. You also get every day, you get that emailed to you if you sign up for it. So the process is, yes, read the first section, it'll probably take you 15, 20 minutes, but then stop. And the next day you read day one, the next day you read day two. And they're not like, a lot of it is just really practical. Like I think day 2 is slipper day, where I say, go buy yourself a great pair of slippers. And honestly, Deacon, I got mine for $10 at Walgreens. And they had like the really old man kind of tassel on the top, but I cut it. It was just bugging. But they were $10, and my other friend's like, slippers cost me $70. I'm like, well, those are really nice slippers, But the day 2 is go buy slippers. Why? Because when I wake up, I love to slip into my slippers. It's something that it's part of the habit. It's part of it's more comfortable for me. So it's sort of like putting on your superhero outfit, but they're slippers, right? And find encouragement. Where do I find other people? Well, there will be a Facebook group. There's the Early to Rise hashtag on Twitter. We're at Early to Rise book. There's all these different places you can go to find other people, and that's the other part that's hard. It's lonely. Go outside at 5 a.m. Guess who else is there? A squirrel. There's no, right? Again, how many people live average lives? Most people. That's why it's called average, right? So if you're doing something that most people aren't doing, you're either doing something illegal and you need to stop, or you're doing something really unique and awesome and you need to keep going. And I think that's what Early to Rise is. And I just try to be really practical. Day 15, I think I wrote about, or day 16, someone wrote me and said, you need to change this because you said it's day 1. And I go, no, you need to read it again. Because I basically said, hey, if you have totally failed the last 15 days, just consider today day 1. It's not practical, because you may have failed for 15 days. But on day 16, you're like, you know what, you're right. It's not about, and Dave Ramsey says this, I don't know if he's the originator of it, but the best day to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best day is today. Because you can't do jack squat about your past, right? So if you failed at it in the past, Andy, I've tried that, blah, blah, that's fine. It's in the past. But what you can control is tomorrow morning and tonight. And so that's what I teach people to do on a really practical level.
Well, as somebody who totally subscribes to the getting up early thing, and I've seen the impact that it can have on my life, and I've failed way more times than I've succeeded in the past. I highly recommend Andy's book. I mean, it's absolutely filled with really the most practical advice that I've seen about of ways to set yourself up for success, of ways to make sure that you're gonna succeed and do well at this, rather than just saying, "Hey, this is extremely important. Good luck."
Praying for you. Thanks for the money for the book. Yeah. I appreciate that, and I am a voracious reader. Voracious. It's funny. I just screwed that word, and I said I'm a really I'm a really huge reader. I love it. No, I think voracious is the right. I read a lot. How's that? That's like you try to say a word and then you just say a different word. That's what I just did there. So I read a lot. And yeah, I get all kinds of encouragement. But books I love are books like Platform from Michael Hyatt, which is intensely practical, or Rework from a guy named Jason Fried, or Mastering the 7 Decisions from Andy Andrews. Because he writes about these 7 decisions in sort of a fictional format in Traveler's Gift. But then I was like, okay, I want to apply these. And so he wrote this book called Mastering the 7 Decisions, which is actually where the idea for the 30-day challenge came from, was from that book. And I just sort of fleshed it out. So, I mean, I hope people will go. And here's the thing. I want them to go to earlytorisebook.com, and I want them to go and I want them to listen to other people talk about the book. I mean, I got people from Australia, people from the South, people from the North, people from the cold, people from the warm, young, old, male, female, retired, college student, mom of 7. She's like, I'm having a hard time. I'm like, because you have 7 kids. Like, give yourself a break. Like, you get up one day early, you're doing better than me. But I want people to go to earlytorisebook.com because they'll hear other people and they'll hear their practical struggle. Because it's not about one guy who wrote a book. It's about you. It's about you changing your life. And it's not even about getting up early. That just happens to be part of the process. But it's not the goal. Because you can wake up 2 hours early and still have the day hit you in the forehead. You can wake up 2 hours early and just work more, and then you're not a better husband or father or mom or sister or whatever. You just work more, and that's not good. So please, if you just want to work more, don't get my book, because I don't want to contribute to that. If you want a better life, you want to be a better person, have a better spiritual walk, learn more, gain more wisdom, then buy the book. But don't buy the book so you can go become more of a workaholic. Like, I don't want to feed your addiction.
Well said, Andy.
Thanks.
Yeah, so definitely check out Early to Rise. Is it earlytorisebook.com?
Yep, earlytorisebook.com. And then, of course, it's on that's the Twitter handle, Early to Rise Book. And yeah, you can find me there. If you have any questions for me, let me know. And you'll be able to get the book there and then also on Kindle. And the last thing I want to tell people is that when you buy the book, you get everything. Like, you don't have to buy the audio extra. You don't have to buy a different format extra. You get it in Kindle, iBook, PDF. I give you the text file. You can take it and rewrite my book if you want. You get every version of the book as well as the full audio. And then you also can get signed up for the daily emails. So this book will surround you. It will haunt you until you get up early. You're welcome. You'll thank me.
Awesome.
But don't call the first 3 minutes, because you'll be hating on me. Like, this is horrible. Like after coffee. You know what I mean? Hey, I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show, and I'm excited to see how your business is going to continue to grow. And and frankly, I'm more excited to see what kind of father and husband you're going to be, because you're getting up early. Because we have this weight of responsibility as men, which I think it makes sense, and God put it in us to provide and take care of our families. And it is criminal that we try to steal that time from our evenings, and it's wise to try to get it from our mornings. I mean, John Acuff, who I know we both look up to a lot, he says, be selfish at 5 a.m. And the reason you can be selfish at 5 a.m. is because everyone else is asleep. And that's what I encourage people to do. That's why I want people to be selfish at a time that doesn't hurt other people, because then really it's not being selfish. But I'm excited for you and for what you're doing, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on. And if folks want to reach me, obviously go to earlytorisebook.com, and there'll be a contact button on there, and you can reach out and bug me. And I want people to love the book. And so before you leave a 1-star review on Amazon, call me. I'll send you twice the money back. I'll pay you off for not leaving a bad review, or I'll send you a better alarm clock or something like that.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. Again, that's earlytorisebook.com. Go read the book. It's awesome. It will change you. 2 weeks from now, you're gonna totally different. Thanks a lot, Andy.
You're still gonna hate getting up early, okay?
But you'll be awesome in hating getting up early.
That's right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, that was awesome stuff, and a huge shout out to Andy, and a thanks for coming on and sharing that stuff with lifeStoked Nation. And that's a topic that's really important to me, and I'm so glad that I could introduce you guys to Andy and his work. One thing we didn't get to in the book, in the interview that I wanted to point out, because this is a really cool tool that I've been using. It's called Lift App. And I know they have it for iOS so far. I know they're working on an Android version. Just go to liftapp.com and you can find it here. Basically, what you do is you put in habits that you want to learn how to do and you check into them. And so if you look for the habit #early-to-rise, you'll find everyone that's reading the book, everyone that's going through it. And when you wake up in the morning, check into that app. You can get props from the community, see who else is doing it. It's a really cool way to keep up with people and kind of hold yourself accountable in a really fun way. Well, hey guys, I hope you found this interview and this material as awesome and inspiring as I did. Head over to earlytorisebook.com, pick yours up, check into Early to Rise on the Lyft app. Let me know that you're doing this too, because, hey, I need encouragement. This stuff is hard. And also, leave a comment below this video. Let me know how you liked Early to Rise and how your Early to Rise experience is going for you.